Well, they're called the Young Invincibles, and today they're standing on principle, so far, a large chunk of them, against the health care law. John Roberts has his hands on a new poll that is making some Obamacare supporters a tad nervous. John.
More than a tad nervous, I would think, Neil. This comes from Harvard, the president's alma mater. It's bad news for him. It found his support among 18 to 29-year-olds, core constituency that helped get him elected and reelected, is cratering, down 11 points since April to 41%. But here are the really troubling numbers for the president. Among that group, 57% say they do not approve of Obamacare. Only 22% of the overall group say they will sign up for it. And among people who currently do not have health insurance, even them, only 29% say they'll enroll in Obamacare. A couple of things that they're worried about. 51% say they believe that under Obamacare, the cost of health care will go up, while 44% believe the quality of care will go down. Now, for the financial assumptions of the Affordable Care Act to work, fully 40% of enrollees have to be below the age of 35. And this poll clearly shows those numbers are not there. Trey Grayson is director of Harvard's Institute of Politics, which conducted the poll.
The president's in a tough spot right now. He's got declining approval ratings. He's got young people who don't support a policy initiative, who don't want to sign up, and that could lead to either further problems down the road for his signature initiatives.
Grayson believes that the White House only has a short period of time to convince these millennials that the plan is a good thing for them, or, Neil, the whole system is at risk of coming crashing down.
Wow, John Roberts, thank you very much, my friend. Well, it's not just young people. As John pointed out, President Obama is also trying to convince a number of state insurance commissioners, in fact, all of them, to get on board with a plan to extend those canceled plans, at least for a year. Ben Nelson, of course, former Democratic senator who supported the health care law. Now he probably has a more important function these days as the head of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. They all recently met with the president, or at least key people, yourself included. You were telling me it's split.
Well, there are 23 states where the commissioners and or the legislatures and the governor have decided to go along with the president's recommendation or his suggestion that that the coverage be extended. 23 states have decided that they either don't have the authority or it would be inappropriate based on what laws have been passed in their state, because in some instances they passed a law saying that people had to get into the plan, and so they are getting into the plan.
They'd be breaking their own law.
They'd be breaking their own law.
So for those 23, not the others are undecided, I guess. What happens to the folks in that state? The president said, well, you can stay on your plan for another year. They can't, right?
They can. They can stay on their plan, and what that does is it raises serious questions about the actuarial content of that plan. Will you have mostly young people, or will you have people with health care conditions? Once you get an adverse selection pool going, that will adversely impact rates. And there are all kinds of questions, technical questions we won't go into, about whether you keep the rate as it is for this year, or whether you'll adjust the rate for next year, and how long does this go on.
Did you envision any of this when you voted for this?
I don't think anybody could have.
I mean, it's a lot worse than you thought, right?
Well, let me put it this way. I think the rollout created unnecessary confusion when you look back, and it's been difficult correcting that.
But when you were crunching the numbers back then, Senator, and voting on this, did any of your colleagues say, you know, truth be told, when the president's saying you can keep your doctor and all that, there's no way. There's no way.
Sure, we said it.
You did?
Sure.
Did you say it to him?
We said it to the appropriate people where it should have been.
Did they tell him?
I don't know. He says that he was aware of part of it, and he's given his own explanation.
Do you think he lied?
I don't think so. No, I'm not going to go into saying anything about the president of the United States. You know, he has his own explanation. We understand that. He's given it. What I do know is that there were several of us who did say that that would be a very difficult promise to keep.
Well, what do you think it's going to end up then? I was asking Michelle Bachmann earlier, it's really, in the end, looking at this in layman's terms, how many people benefit versus how many do not. And the argument was that everyone was going to benefit by and large when this was sold, and now it looks like a good chunk of people are not going to benefit. You think more will benefit or fewer?
I don't think anybody knows at the moment what the rates will ultimately be, or when
well, they're up
the
a
benefit.
lot for a lot of people.
But ultimately, how that will all play out.
Well, what do you do for those who are finding that when even they do get coverage, if they've been kicked off a plan, they're paying a lot more for it, or a lot limited choices, or sort of a one-size-fits-all? But bottom line, they're burnt.
Well, you know, the one thing that people do need to focus on is that there's no longer a lifetime or an annual limitation or a cap on benefits.
No. There are a lot of great stuff here, Senator. The lifetime benefit, that's fine. Covering those with pre-existing conditions, I love that one. But you knew at the time, and I'm sure a lot of your colleagues at the time, that you don't get something for nothing, right?
But what there is something here that hasn't been discussed much is the medical loss ratio, that 85% of the premium, or 85 cents out of every premium dollar, needs to be paid out in benefits or returned, and the process has already been in place where last year people got rebates.
But not enough. Most right now, earlier on, are paying a lot more. Now, do you think that's going to reverse itself?
Well, I think that's where it'll even out at some point with competition. What will be the advantage in overcharging? You can't keep the money.
Do you regret any of this?
Look, you don't get a lot of do-overs in life. I think
if you did.
No, you know, I don't think it's fair for me to go back and talk about it that way.
I've talked to some of your colleagues off the record because they don't say this on the record. Yeah, I regret it.
Well, I think I regret a lot of things that have happened, like the bad rollout, the fact that young people have been told that it's better to stay off the plan than it is to get on the plan.
Do you think the president was out to lunch on this?
No, I don't.
Do you think that the White House in general didn't appreciate the gravity?
I'm not going to engage in that kind of a blame game.
Not in blame, but I mean, it was his pet project. It was his baby. This was his JFK space program, right?
Well, I think what you need to think about is that sometimes you attempt to do things. Now, let's go back to the prescription drug benefit, Part D of Medicare. I didn't think that would go out smoothly, and it did. So you can't always predict.
Well, it didn't go out smoothly. It finished up better than it started, but you're right.
Well, okay, it finished up better than it started, but it wasn't a bad rollout.
But you're going to give the benefit of the doubt, as like Bill Clinton, that this will sort itself out.
Well, I think it will sort itself out.
Okay.
Ultimately, people will have to come together and find solutions, as opposed to blaming and pointing fingers. That won't get us where we want to be, and that's why the commissioners are focused on taking care of folks back home in the best way they can figure out how to do it.
Well, for those 20 who are not, I mean, they're in a pickle here. But, Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you.